Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode here at Talk on Topics. Today, we have a special guest. We have AR, who is the owner and founder of Surf Exotics. Hi, AR. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you,
So,
thank you for having me.
I'm sorry?
No, I said thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So, AR, I'm interested. What is Surf Exotics?
So, as I kind of mentioned, Surf Exotics will be the record label, but I'm gonna say this, and I'm very hesitant because I have a brilliant idea. I'm just gonna keep it real. We all think we got brilliant ideas, right? But I'm gonna share a little bit of the whole because the name Surf Exotics, it doesn't necessarily speak to music, right? It doesn't sound like a record label. It doesn't sound like something you would, it's not what you typically hear when you talk about a record label. So my whole purpose for it is to basically I'm creating platforms for other platforms. And
Okay.
so yeah, and so Surf Exotics is the beginning of a platform to eventually break into extreme sports. So I
Oh,
really want to break into extreme sports. You know what I mean? Growing up, I'm from Hayward, from South Hayward, I'm from the Bay Area. I like skateboarding though. Like I've
okay.
always liked it. Like I don't do it anymore, but I've always appreciated the art. I've always appreciated just how unique and how niche it is just in terms of society and what people do with their time. Like, a skateboard, skateboarding and surfing and all that type of stuff is very, very specific. And unfortunately, today I feel as though it's something that you more so see in white communities. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I want to say like middle class communities but if you ride down the street in Oakland, you see dudes, riding their dirt bikes through the street all the time. And I thought about it. And I said, man, you know what? Like I've always appreciated extreme sports, and I feel as though there can be a really big market for that out here if someone were to present it in a bigger and more, I want to say, like, just make it a thing. Just
Mm.
really make it a thing. Like, why don't we have tracks, in the Bay Area where guys can go take their bikes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I get that they still gonna want to ride through the street. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, what I mean. You riding through the streets, you kind of like it got this rebellious edge to it, right? Like extreme sports has a rebellious edge to it. So and I promote that. I promote the hell out of that. But I think that in terms of society and in terms of investing in the inner city community and creating more outlets, more options for kids and who like to do that type of stuff with their time. You know what I mean? I wanna be like if not the forerunner, at least one of the forerunners, one of the supporters of extreme sports becoming bigger in the inner city, community, especially black people. I'm really, really talking about black people, but Hispanics as well and white people as well, whatever, Asian, whatever. But more so us, right? This is
Right.
the graphic that I know of personally. So I'm just thinking about what I see. I'm thinking about our style and how we influence everything we do, how we influence everything we touch. And I'm just like, I think that we as black people, who also helped found this country, right, can have a lot of value that we can add to extreme sports, in terms of the style, in terms of adding more culture of our culture into it, and it becoming a thing where it's like I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like right now it's more like it's a thing where like you're welcome to join us,
Mm.
rather than it's like no, this is us.
I like that.
And so the Surf Exotics ultimately is going to turn into a record label that will, allow me to. I want to keep the same name, and that's why it's Surf Exotics, because I'm going to start, creating, merchandise and I want to start designing, graphics for skateboards and surfboards and getting into stuff. I'm really getting into it, really, really getting into this shit, and really, really putting my foot, in that door, and trying to bring others in who are as enthusiastic or more than I am.
So is it like how are you going to impact extreme sports? Are you going to create a community center or how so?
Well, the first way I want to do is I don't know what's going to come first, honestly, but I've always had aspirations of starting my own skate label, and
Okay.
a skate label is a company basically that makes boards, right? And they can also have skaters that ride for them. So I would be able to. So the whole thing is I need to establish myself as a brand so that through that I'll be able to make better connections, right? Being able to have a platform to be heard on. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because it's a lot harder when nobody knows you. You
No,
know,
I feel you.
Yeah, so just getting known a little bit, just so that I could, be able to shake different kind of hands, be able to get in different kind of rooms, you know what I mean? And then from there, it's like, okay, well, they know who I am and they fuck with me as a brand. Yeah, like I said, this is every platform, every step is building the next step, So the ultimate goal is to be able to sit back on a computer like this and look at graphics that my artists are making, check in with my managers and see where my skaters will be, see where my artists will be, because I want to promote art. I want to build artists and put out artists as well, because I have like a artistic mind when it comes to like creating and
Oh, do you?
marketing. And yeah, I've been drawing since I was like 3 or 4 years old, so I'm actually an artist, a physical artist, as well as I write songs. And so I have like a wide range of things that pertains to art and audio, visual, and literature.
I know you also, I saw on your page, or I think you had mentioned you're an author of a book, right?
So I haven't got it published yet, but just for our sake, since we're talking, it's called Wisdom from a Fool's Perspective.
Okay.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like the title.
Yeah, I wrote it when I was in prison. I did a little over 5 years, so I wrote it when I was down, and I finished it when I paroled, so it's a book. It's basically a memoir of lessons I learned from talking to different people and the things that I observed while I was in there, and the lessons I took from what I observed, because I'm a very firm believer in learning from what you see rather than what you have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the best way to achieve wisdom, in my opinion, is not to have to go through it yourself, but to see others experience it and gain the knowledge from them.
Right.
Saves us. So AR, tell me a little bit about, you said you were an artist and you write music. You want to bring people in to Extreme Surf Exotics. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How that's gonna intertwine?
Yeah, connect the dots. Yeah, connect the dots. Huh? Yeah, you're like, what? How is this gonna work? Right. Connect the dots. So it starts off with me. So I started writing songs. I started writing lyrics when I was 14. I'm 33 now. So I have almost 20 years, of writing songs. So without a sense of arrogance, I could say I'm hella good at it. That's something I'm very, very, very good at. Right. Like I've given 20 years of my life to, you know what I mean? So that's something I'm very good at. And so now I'm just in a place where I realized honestly that it's more to it than art. Your art, yeah, the art is good, but if you're not a good businessman or a businesswoman, right, the art can't really get the appreciation that any artist would truly want, right? And so it starts off with me, like I said, establishing myself as a brand, less so as an artist, more so as a brand. And then that way, actually having a label, I will be able to promote my label as I'm promoting myself, right? And so through the recognition that I get over time, I'll be able to then take my resources, my connections, my creative ideas, along with another person's creative ideas, and then start taking one artist at a time, right? I have that first artist. Okay, this is the artist I'm working with. And through, just the networks that I've been able to generate. So this is a plan that will take, I'll say 2 to 3 years to implement, my first artist, I would say. So, I mean, when it's all said and done, I could be 40 years old, starting to design skateboards, right? Like ultimately, like I haven't really capped a time period because I don't really know how it's going to play out. You know what I mean? Because I'm also getting into modeling, right?
Oh.
It's like, and all of these things are kind of the same world, so I'm kind of like, I'm getting myself in this world. You know what I mean? And the most important thing that I think is brand recognition. I don't think people are so hooked on what you're doing as much as, how you look when you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, okay. Like I see you, but, the professional look, the website, the photography has to be up to par, right? It's having those things lined up. But through establishing myself, I'll be able to establish other artists. And then through that recognition, you can only build more relationships as you continue to win, right? So it's just being able to branch off from there. And we already had the shoes. We already had the shirts and the hats, right? And so it's like we're just now putting emphasis on it. We're giving it more shape because I'm going to have Surf Exotic hats and shirts long before I'm making boards. Before I'm making boards, just because I want people to anticipate it and I want people to have enough time to spread the word on their own. I think word of mouth is still super powerful. Now you look good. I think word of mouth is still hella powerful.
Thank you.
So it takes time for information to get passed along. You know, so I'm really just trying to patiently establish myself. So like I said, I established another artist, and then through establishing artists, I'll be known as a businessman, right?
Yes.
I'm a
Yeah.
businessman, you know. So it's like I'm not just an artist. I'm an entrepreneur. That's why if anyone were to see my page, you'll say aspiring model, entrepreneur, welder by trade. You know, I weld for a living. That's how I pay my bills. You know, I'm a welder. You know, so I, you know, so to connect the dots in almost the simplest way, it's almost like I lift myself up, and through being able to stand, I'm able to help someone else stand, right? And as I'm helping a few people stand, they'll say, oh, okay, AR can help people stand up. I see that. I recognize that. Okay. And so through having that recognition, people will then take me more seriously when I'm introducing things that have nothing to do with music. Right? Because I'm such a professional, I'm so good at what I'm already doing. It's almost like, okay, well, he has ideas and people care about what he has to say. Right. And so it's like at that point, that's when you present your cool ideas. I think that's when you present your little cool ideas. But what are you gonna say?
Thank you. It sounds like you have a real passion for the culture. Where did that derive from? Like, where did that initiate from?
Uh,
Your passion to want to help others. You know, you sound like you have a big heart.
you don't know me.
Community, how you want to be an influence to the community, to the
Yeah.
urban community, how
Yeah.
we as a culture don't have certain outlets, and the certain things aren't available to us, like exotic sports, for example. You've talked about a little bit about your life, so I'm just interested, when did this passion to help others, when was that birth?
Probably real young. Like some of my earliest memories are being with my parents, I'm blessed to say, and I'm unashamed. My parents been married for almost 40 years. You know what I mean? So yeah, yeah, yeah. So I grew up being groomed. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Really being groomed and seeing my parents feeding homeless people, going out of their way to do kind things. My dad's a pastor. You know what I mean?
okay.
So yeah. So yeah, a little bit of my background. You know what I mean? So I think just instilling in me, you know, growing up, you know, we didn't have a lot. I had two other siblings, you know, we shared everything, you know what I mean? We shared most things, you know what I mean? So I think just growing up that way and just seeing the unending homelessness, you know, that we are, you know, we're surrounded by, it just made me, I don't know, I don't like seeing it. I don't like seeing it.
Hmm.
It bothers me. It bothers me seeing people that don't have the basic things they should need that they need. It bothers me that people don't have black people especially don't have more options. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into all the politics and the you know, as it pertains to racism and slavery and in the system, right? We could speak on that forever, right? You know, but
True.
what I'm doing is putting myself in a position to make a change. You know what I mean? In the communities I could see and go visit and kick it in and go buy my drinks from the liquor store and all that. You know what I mean? I want to be able to go and see mom and pops and know that they have what they need in their communities and that there's children who can go outside and play, right? And there's children who have options other than feeling like they need to be an athlete or an entertainer to make some money that can allow them to afford a lifestyle that they think they want to live. I don't think there's nothing wrong with having jewelry, nothing wrong with having the kind of cars that the neighborhood you want to live in, but oftentimes we limit ourselves on the routes we could take to get there because
Hmm.
a lot of options aren't presented to us, right? Like people don't tell you can make 100,000 a year as a welder, you know, or as a carpenter. As a
Oh,
people don't tell you that, but you
no,
can.
it didn't.
You can. You can.
Yeah, that's
So it's like I want to bring awareness. You know, it's just like my medium is through music and art because that's what I have my background in. You know,
mm,
so I think that's going to be a good driving force for me because that's how I'm going to be able to push through. You know
right.
what I mean? The adversity and the no's and the pitfalls that are going to come along the way. So I'm choosing what I'm passionate about. But ultimately, if I could just add this, I want to get into mentorship. I want
Okay.
to build people.
What
You
would
know,
you mentor people on,
you
or in
know,
what way?
life.
Okay.
Honestly, life. You know, as what I could speak on today. Like when I get into that, I'm going to be a man who's an established businessman, who's an
Good.
established entrepreneur, who's an established, you know, a husband, father, right? And the things that I could influence these young men, like, look, these are the things you need to look out for. I didn't been to prison, right? I didn't been in the streets. You know what I mean? I didn't got certifications, through employment, right?
Mhm.
I've gone through different channels to experience different things. And
Good.
so I think I'm pretty well rounded for my age in terms of what I can offer a younger person. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? The information I can give a person, relationships, you know what I mean? I've been married before, stuff like that. I feel like I've had like I feel like I've lived a little life. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so by that point, I want to just be able to pour my resources into young black men. You know what I mean? I want to take 2 to 3 every maybe 2 to 5 years privately. Nothing. I'm promoting for media, not a nonprofit, nothing like that. My money, my time. My network, right? And I want to get people who feel the same way about the inner city. You know what I mean? And black people, young black men. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And be able to help them because the family is the community.
Yeah.
The family is the community, and if you kill the head, if you make them, not that a woman couldn't lead, right? But if you take away the man, you take away so much identity and influence and
Yeah.
understanding of how to nurture and protect, understanding of how to provide and when to be strong and what that looks like in different situations, right? How to be vulnerable and still feel like you're masculine, right? How to be, you know, a go-getter, but not selfish and neglectful of your family, right? And your responsibilities. And it's something I haven't perfected, honestly. So it's not something I'm looking to do immediately, but the whole end game, right? For everything, Surf Exotics, everything is to say, okay, I got all these resources. I got all these connections. All right, y'all, what do you want to do with your life?
Mm.
I can help you, right? I ain't never had nobody come to me and be like, man, Anthony, my name's Anthony. Like, Anthony, what do you want to do with your life? Because I can help you get there, right? It's always like, oh, what do you want to do? Okay, well, make a plan to get there. Oh, okay, well, that's cool. But it's never like, I've never heard anybody go up to somebody and just be like, look, bro, I see potential in you and I want to help you get there. Are you ready? Is this what you want to do? Do you want to partner with me to make your life everything you want it to be for yourself?
Do you feel like that might have been something you were missing in your life at some point, or?
Definitely. I
Okay.
would have been in the NFL right now. What?
You
I
wanted to
was
be in the NFL,
I was so good.
and
I
what
had
happened?
so much potential at my grade. I mean, and I don't want to blame it on the lack of a positive, influence, but I didn't recognize the relationship between being a student and an athlete.
Mm.
I didn't recognize that your grades is the gateway to be able to play sports, and that
Yeah.
it was a privilege. I didn't understand that,
Mm.
because you grew up playing that outside. You're like, well, I can't play in school. I've been playing it outside my whole life, but excuse me, having somebody in my life who would have been able to see my potential and then know how to tap into it and pull it out of me.
Mm.
And I think I do have a gift to be able to see things in people, right? And to my parents' credit, I was bad as hell in school. I'm gonna keep it real. So it was enough for them to tell me just to go to class and for me to be going to class and going to school. So I can't put all of that on them, you know what I mean? Because I was putting them through, things here and there, you know what I mean, through getting expelled, getting suspended, going to jail, you know what I mean, getting arrested, you know what I mean, stuff like that. My pops finding, illegal things. I'll let y'all
Mm.
imagine what that is, right? You know what I mean? So I have experience in a lot of different ways, that I know could be valuable to a young man who wants to be all he can be.
What was it that initially turned you around? You sounded like you liked to play sports, but you weren't doing so well in school. You got in a little bit of trouble. What turned you around?
I went to
Was
jail.
that turnaround factor for you?
Yeah, so when I was 20, I got convicted of an armed robbery case, and I was sentenced to 6 years. I have a strike. Um, at the time, I had a girlfriend. She was pregnant though, and we lost the baby. We're not together, but it served as a catalyst for making me
Mm.
realize that I can't be a man to my son in here.
Mm.
And I feel like, you know, I don't know, I'm from the Bay. Like, I can't hide who I am. I feel like a lot of dudes be on sucker shit. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I can't allow somebody who I don't know what they're on to raise my son. So that was the very first thing that got me thinking, and that turned me to God. I'm gonna keep it real. That turned me back to God. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It turned me to God because I said, you know what? I'm in this foreign land. And I don't know, and I know the streets, but I didn't know at the time jail was just like the streets, but I didn't know that, so I'm in shock. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, right? I just, you know what I mean? I'm just in there just trying to figure it out, but it made me humble, and it made me realize I don't know as much as I thought I did, and it made me realize that if I'm going to be more, I got to do different. It's like as simple as that, really. And I just built on that. That's what wisdom from a fool's perspective is about. I had to build on that. Wisdom from a fool's perspective. I observed, and then I tried to do.
That is beautiful. You've been very vulnerable, and I appreciate that. There's so much strength in vulnerability. You shared so much how you care about the community, especially our Black people, and the options that we do and don't have that's available to us, and how you want to be a contribution to the community. I really appreciate this interview too. Where can the community find you, AR? If anyone wants to get in touch with you, have more conversation about Surf Exotics, could you shout out your tag?
Yeah, so if you're a guy, you can reach me on my Instagram at ARSM_ITH. If you're a woman, no, I ain't gonna get my number. I got a girlfriend. She's gonna kick my ass. She in the other room. She's gonna kick my ass. So just to be serious though, you can find me on my Instagram. It's ARSM_ITH, AR Smith. I'm working on a website, so I'll be announcing that really, 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 really soon. But as for now, if you just want to chat, if you just want to be nosy, just want to follow me, I don't know what you got going on, but you could come to my page at ARSM_ITH.
You guys heard it. Reach out to AR. Talk on topics. Thank you so much.